everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got a battle report here for you. Battle report number 61 is a little bit more Adepticon prep. It's Tazai, Lord Tremendous of the Ogre Cons, versus Sex Panther of the Demon Legion. I know I'm getting a lot of games against him, but the demons are a really, really good army for me to cut my teeth against and get practice against. And you know what? He's a willing participant, and that's so much better than having to force somebody into this partnership with me. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see how this one goes. Here's my list, and there's been some slight changes to kits, I believe, but other than, no, and there's been a little change to the list as well, so let's go over them. My characters start off with Khan, just a Khan, Black Shade. He's my general. He's got the Ogre Crossbow, the Sword of Strength, the Hardened Shield, Talisman of Shielding, and Horde Master. He's a 2-up, 5-up, Strength, 6 attacking guy. Just needed a general that wasn't Skaz, and this guy will suffice. Next up, I have my other Khan. He's my BSB. He's also got an Ogre Crossbow. He's still got the Heart Ripper. I gave him Yeti Furs. And he's got the Troll Eater Big Name. The idea here is my guys have guns now. Well, crossbows, but you get the idea. Then, of course, I have my Shaman Skaz. He's still got 3 learn spells. I gave him a great weapon because I just had the points. I gave him the Dragonfire Gem because I didn't want him completely naked, but, you know, wanted to try him out. And then I gave him the Path of Thaumaturgy. I'm excited about this. He's butt naked unless it's flaming. He's using the Path of Thaumaturgy. I wanted a more aggressive spell lore for him to use. And Thaumaturgy, I think, is going to give me that. You'll see what happens. And then we have the character of characters, my Mammoth Hunter, Lord Tremendous. He also has an Ogre Crossbow, the Obsidian Sword, the Armor of Fortune, a Headhunter, and he's on his trusty Tusker, the War Teddy. This is a solid kit. It is a very, very solid kit, and I'm looking forward to showing you what happens in this game. My core choices have stayed the same because there's no reason to change anything. I have my unit of 7 tribesmen, the good old boys, with Banner, Musician, Iron Fist, and the Banner of Discipline. I have my second unit of 7 tribesmen, the Conquerors, with Banner, Musician, and Iron Fists. And I still have the 15 Scraplings, my Randos, I apologize. They just have bows, but it's amazing how well they do. For my special choices, I have my 5 Scrapling Trappers, the Favored Pets. I've got my Saber-Toothed Tiger, Bow Wowzer. And I've got a unit of 3 Tusker Cavalry with a banner, great weapons, and the War Standard. And this unit has surprised me time and time again. Wait till you see what happens in this game. In the Powder Keg category, I have a Scratapult, swapped it out from the Thunder Cannon from the last game, simply because it's cheaper and I needed points elsewhere. And of course, my Chained Beasts category. I've got my Rock-a-Rock Elf Eater, and the rider with Lance is none other than Shyhammer. Look at the sweat glistening off his green skin. This guy, this unit, I love this unit. And then I have my old failsafe, the Frost Mammoth Rufus. The guys on his back carry a couple of Ogre Crossbows, but man, I love this guy. I love this model, love the unit, love the special rules, love everything about him. So he's going to stay in the list. Sorry, he's my favorite. That's going to do it for my list. I'm going to post my opponent's list, play some music. Feel free to pause it whenever you'd like to see what he took. Here are my spells. I don't have any cards or anything like that printed out, so I've just got the sheet printed out, and I put dice next to what I got. I got the Hand of Heaven, I got Cleansing Fire, and I got Wrath of God. That's one I really wanted to get because I wanted to try it out. Here's deployment. And for the most part, I know for a fact I'm the one that got the setup first. There's a lot of impassable terrain on this table. The little rock formation in front of Rufus, the rock formation in between the Tusker Cav and Lord Tremendous, and the Stegodon skull, the Triceratops skull, whatever it is. That's all impassable terrain, as well as a little rock formation on the back right picture of the picture there. There's a couple of there's a forest, there's two hills, and then there's a field where Elfeater and Shyhammer are at. So I set up. Basically, he's got a big wide open area. I've got the trappers in the forest there. Of course, I know by now his crushers have the Stalker standard, but everything else doesn't. And it was as close as I could get them, so I figured the trappers will have some fun harassing the crushers, hopefully. But I put the bulk of my unit right around that hill. I've got the Scratapult that I'm going to try to take down a bunch of slaughterers with. I've got the Scraplings that are going to try to do the same thing because they're only toughness 3, and I should be able to take out, I'm hoping, 10 before I see them in combat, because after that, even one of my units of tribesmen should be able to finish off 20 slaughterers relatively easy. I've got Elfeater with Bow Wowzer over on the right flank. The idea is Bow Wowzer is going to try to stop Elfeater from doing stupid charges due to Frenzy, because I've been failing a lot of Frenzy checks lately, and it's been hurting me bad. Meanwhile, I've got the Tusker Cav scooting in between that little gap between the two impassable pieces of terrain. Lord Tremendous shooting around. I figure if he has to charge through the forest, he's got a better chance of surviving it than my Tusker Cav, and they're going to deal with whatever they can. I still don't have a good answer for his Scourge of Wrath, but that's what I'm kind of relying on Thaumaturgy for. I'm hoping that I can get a Wrath of the Gods off. I'm hoping that the Magic Missile, the #1 spell, Cleansing Hand or whatever, is enough to put some wounds on him so that when he does get into combat, I can finish him off. He's only got 6 wounds. It's just he's got so many attacks before I get to attack. It's terrifying. But that was really what I was thinking when I deployed, and that's it for deployment. Here's top of 1 after movement, and I didn't move overly aggressive. Both unit of tribesmen come down off the hills. So the Scratapult and the Scraplings have unimpeded view of their targets. The Scraplings did come forward so they could eventually be within 24 inches of the slaughterers and shoot at them. The Scratapult, Rufus, they didn't have to move, so they didn't. Skaz came out on top of the hill there, not to block line of sight or anything like that, but I needed to fire off some spells at his Scourge. So I put him out on the hill, knowing very well that his cannon was going to shoot at Skaz. But it's long range. He was going to need a 5 to hit, and it's flaming. I have the Dragon Flame gem or Dragon Fire gem or whatever. So I'm thinking I'm going to be okay if he does shoot at him. I know it's a risky move, but I figure the odds are in my favor. Lord Tremendous kind of moves up using the cover of the forest. The trappers come out of the forest a little bit, just get out of the charge arc of the crushers. They don't fully get out of it, but I figure if he's going to go after the trappers, that's fine. He can keep those guys out of combat, not at a real game for a while, to give up, 80 points of trappers or whatever they're worth. So Lord Tremendous comes up, looking for any charges of opportunity and to be backed up by the Tusker Cav. Meanwhile, Elfeater and Bow Wowzer move forward. I figure if my opponent gives me his Hellhounds, Elfeater will happily mulch them. I'd love to get rid of those guys. And then, with a little luck, I'd be able to send Elfeater either into the Slaughterers, the Demon Engine, or, God willing, the Scourge of Wrath. Not that I think that Elfeater would kill him, but he would do a ton of impact hits prior to being taken apart by the thing, which would be super useful. But yeah, that's it for movement. During the magic phase, I get Wrath of Gods off. I put it right there where that little token is. The idea there is the Scourge has to move. The Slaughterers have to move. Honestly, even the Demon Engine has to move. The Crushers have to move. I'm forcing him to move. Not that I think it's going to be a huge big deal. I know he's coming towards me, but if he comes towards me, he's just getting closer to the comet. I expect it to come down in his magic phase. It's 50-50, but if it doesn't, and he moves forward again, or I move towards him or whatever, it'll come down stronger, farther, and he's really got to take that in consideration now. What I really like about this spell the most is the control over my opponent's movement phase that I have. That's huge, and I'm not great with it yet, but with games like this to practice, I'm hoping to get much better at it. In the shooting phase, I take careful aim at the Slaughterers with my Scratapult and proceed to misfire 6. Not the start I wanted, but it's okay. I take a wound with no saves doing kind of loud and move on to other shooting. Which really doesn't equate to much. Lord Tremendous and a bunch of other guys shoot at the Crushers, and after all is said and done, I'm able to get one wound through after all of his saves, because it's still Sex Panther. And I'm able to get one wound through on a Crusher, and it's a start. But we'll see what happens. At least, I guess it's better than none. So with no combat, we go over here to bottom of 1 after movement, and as you can see, they fly forward. The demons come forward with a vengeance. And from my opponent's own mouth, it had a lot to do with the comet coming down. His chariot and his demonic engine kind of stay put. They're a decent distance away. They think they're going to be all right. But the Scourge and the Slaughterers, he's like, I got to come forward. I got to get away from this comet as fast as I can. So that's awesome. I like that it makes him move in a way that he hadn't planned to move prior. In my opinion, it made him make a huge mistake. It put his Slaughterers into charge range of both my units of tribesmen. And I may have been born at night, but I wasn't born last night. Both of them are going after those Slaughterers, and damn the consequences. Not only that, but if you take a look, his Scourge moved up so far that I can charge his Slaughterers, and his Scourge won't be able to countercharge. I think his Scourge is going after Rufus, which I get. He hates his initiative being lowered, but that's fine. If Rufus dies, so be it. I mean, I love him to death, but sometimes you gotta be the sacrifice. His Crushers move up equally as fast and a little reckless, which is going to give my Tuskers and Lord Tremendous an opportunity to charge him. And then his dogs move up really, really fast, which surprised me. I don't know why he moved the dogs up that way. Maybe he underestimated Elf Eater. Maybe he didn't realize what Elf Eater could do. I don't fully know. I didn't get an after-game recap because, honestly, I've been forgetting. Sorry. I'm a terrible Tremendous. I really need to get back into doing those. I really did enjoy them, the one that I've done. But I am going to get back to doing that once I start remembering again. But that's it for his movement. Opponent does have a magic face, so I roll, and the Wrath of the Gods comes slamming down onto the table. I do 3 wounds to his Scourge, and I do, I think, 2 wounds to his, what's it called? His Slaughterers, which is fine. I am 100% okay with that. I took half the wounds off of his Scourge of Wrath, and I got 2 Slaughterers. Nothing else was affected, but if only the Scourge took 3 wounds, this would have been a super successful Wrath of the Gods. This guy is half dead in the bottom of 1. Thaumaturgy and me, I think, are going to get along just fine. So then we go over into the shooting phase, and his cannon fires at Skaz, hits, wounds, and I fail my origin. He does exactly 4 wounds to Skaz, exploding him all over the surrounding unit. Oh, the best laid plans, right? But wait, I'm not done. I take the panic checks, and the only one to fail it is Rufus, who immediately flees off the table. Oh, Skaz. Rufus has been fleeing a lot lately too. It's funny. The Scratapult, the Scraplings, they both passed. My General's unit auto passed because of the Banner of Discipline, but Rufus panics from the closest enemy unit because it wasn't done by 25% casualties. Closest enemy unit, which was the Scourge, which flees him off the table. That's okay. The Wrath of the Gods did really good. That's what I'm going to hold on to. So we still don't have any combat, so here we are on top of 2, and we're going to have some combat. Lord Tremendous and the Tusker Cav charge the Crushers, both make it. Lord Tremendous has to go through the forest to do so, passes his dangerous terrain with flying colors. The good old boys and the Conquerors slam into the Slaughterers, and my opponent goes, crap. Like, yeah. He goes, I was trying to get away from that comet. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, I couldn't pass up this charge. And he was just kind of like, son of a bitch. And then Elf Eater went into the Hellhounds, and I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know why he did this. Maybe he thought he was chaffing up Elf Eater, so I couldn't go after his demonic engine or something. I mean, Elf Eater has to overrun. I was able to angle him or maximize him as far over to the right as I could, so I can get past the Triceratops skull, which is impassable. And yeah. The Scratapult just kind of pivots a little bit in order to shoot at, what's it called? The Scourge of Wrath. The Scraplings do the same thing. And the Trappers, they failed their march check, so they moved 4 inches, and that was pretty much it. That's it for movement. There's a better picture of Elf Eater slamming into the Hellhounds. There's a better picture of the Conquerors and the good old boys slamming into the Slaughterers, and that is a fight I'm looking forward to. I know I'm a dick, but damn it, this is the stuff that dreams are made of right here. And here's a better picture of a risky charge, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity. The Tusker Cav and Lord Tremendous slamming into the Crusher Cav. It's dangerous. It's a full unit with only 1 wound taken on it. But 4d3 strength 5 impact hits plus all their attacks, plus Lord Tremendous has the anti-armor blade. It was a risk worth taking, and I'm not going to get a better charge than this. He's not going to give up a flank or a rear, so screw it. It might as well, right? Nothing happens in Magic because Skaz is dead, so we go into shooting, and I misfire 3 with my Scratapult. Oh my god! Can't shoot this turn or next. It's still a Chariot. I got a Scourge of Wrath right on me. I'm sending this guy in. If he's still in Charge Arc next turn, I'm going to send him in, let him do his impact hits, and if he doesn't kill him, I'm going to encourage the Scourge to rip this thing apart. Really getting frustrated with War Machines again. I used to love these guys. So then we go into combat, and as you can see, Elf Eater ate their lunch. I did 2, 4, 6, 7 wounds and a charge to his 1 wound. He's not steadfast. He loses by 7. They crumble into dust, and Elf Eater overruns 7 or 8 inches, which does put him in charge range of the demonic engine. I'm looking forward to that. Oh my god, over here, I don't know what life I saved over the past week, but oh, this combat went my way so hard. I kill all but 5 of his Slaughterers. In return, he does 2 wounds to the Conquerors, 1 wound to Khan, kills off a good old boy, and that's it. 23 Slaughterers die. He loses combat by a metric ton, and the unit evaporates. I overrun with the good old boys, not thinking that I was going to overrun 11 inches. But I did. The hope was I'd go up between 5 to 8 inches and be able to charge either the demonic engine or the cannon next turn. If they were around, if they tried to charge me, that's fine. The odds are not both of them were going to make it. That unit could take a charge from one of them, probably not both. But I ended up overrunning 11 inches. So the good old boys got a little overzealous. That sucks, because now they're going to get charged by the demonic engine and the cannon, and they're dead. The Conquerors reform to face over by the Scourge and possibly get into combat with the Crushers should the Tusker Cav and Lord Tremendous not be up to that challenge, which is kind of understandable. I also thought about maybe sending them in to deal with the Scourge of Wrath, so just position them in such a way that there was a chance that they could get into combat, not next turn because they reform, but the turn after. Over here, though, my guys really do impress me. I'm able to kill 2 of the Crushers, almost get a 3rd, but it's still Sex Panther, and 80% of the time his ward saves work every time. In return, I lose a Tusker, 1 more takes a wound. Lord Tremendous is perfectly fine. He ends up in a challenge with his BSB, and it's just a limp wrist fight, so nothing happens there, which is great because I'm negating his attacks, which is huge. I win this combat, but he makes his leadership check because it's not by much, and nothing else happens. But I feel like I have a chance, and at least he didn't just wholesale slaughter me. His dice are rolling pretty horribly this game so far, so I'm going to take advantage of that while I still can. I have no honor, damn it. And then we go over here to bottom of 2 after movement. Just like you thought, just like I thought, just like we all knew was going to happen, his demonic engine and his chariot slam into the good old boys. I thought about fleeing, but honestly his demonic engine was way too close. And it was the right call because his cannon rolled boxcars to charge me and probably would have ran down the good old boys, which sucks. His Scourge of Wrath charged the Scraplings. The Scraplings stood and shot, didn't do anything to him, but they did pass their terror check, so they could stand and shoot. I was very proud of them. And that's really it. Everything else he has is deader in combat. There's a better picture of his Scourge failing a charge at my Scraplings, and there's a picture of the Scraplings manning up, standing and shooting and passing their leadership to do so. Golly. And if you notice the little tombstone thing, it's got Rufus on it. I'm sorry, it's got Skaz on it. Sex Panther has taken to making tombstones of my characters and favored units and putting them there after he kills. I've got great friends. I don't know what your problem is. I got great friends. I'm just kidding. I think it's hilarious. And there's a better picture of my opponent taking full advantage of the overzealousness that is the good old boys. This is why Black Shade's just a con, and not a great con. There's no magic or shooting, so we go straight into combat, and it's pretty brutal. I lose 2 tribesmen from the good old boys, and I think another one's on his way out. I do minimal wounds back, if anything. I honestly don't remember. I think maybe I did one to the engine, and maybe a couple to the cannon. But he charged, he was down a hill, he did like 8 wounds to maybe 3 in a banner. I'm not steadfast, it's not looking good. I break, his demonic engine stays, his cannon pursues, and his cannon catches me no problem. Really devastating loss, all things considered, but that's the risk I took. I didn't think I was going to roll an 11 overrun, and yeah, bad call on my part. I should have just pivoted. And then over here, again, my opponent's dice are just garbage. I don't even mind telling you. I do take a little bit of damage. Lord Tremendous eats a couple of wounds in the challenge, but he gives 2 wounds as well. That Obsidian Blade is a huge bonus. This was a suggestion made by one of my subs, and what a wonderful suggestion this was, because his BSB has like a 2-up armor, maybe even a 1-up, and it's completely unaccounted for. He's got a 5-up ward, and he made one, which is the only reason he's still alive. Another Crusher dies. I win this combat, but he makes his break check, or he makes his crumble check, and we stick. But wow, they're really taking it to these guys, and I'm very proud of them. So with that over, we go over here to top of 3 after movement, and I don't have a ton, but I do what I can. Elf Eater does charge into the flank of his demonic engine. My opponent didn't think I could see him, but, you know, after showing him, yeah, I could see him real easy, and I made it into the flank no less, and that was glorious. I do screw up. The Conquerors charged the cannon. I had forgotten that I reformed last turn. Didn't realize it till I was putting the slideshow together for this battle report. Completely my fault. It's cheating. I'm a terrible person, and I mostly blame my parents. My Scratapult charges into the Scourge, not because I expect him to do well, but because I expect him to die, because he's pissed me off. His misfiring and not being able to shoot for 3 turns, basically, has earned him a swift and horrible death at the hands of a marked Wrath Greater Demon, and I hope he dies in horrible agony. Sorry, I don't know sympathy. The Scraplings just kind of back up a little bit because they're not going to have anything to do in this game, and Bow Wowzer just shifts slightly to watch the fight unfold around him. I don't even bother moving the Trappers because I got nowhere to put them. Either I'm going to win these combats or everyone's going to die. And that's it for movement. There's a better picture of the Scratapult dying into the Scourge, the Conqueror slamming into the cannon, illegal, my bad, and Elf Eater and Shyhammer slamming into the Demonic Engine, which is legal and also my bad. With Skaz dead and my shooting having no targets, we go straight into combat, and oh baby, Elf Eater kills the Demonic Engine by he gets all 9 of his impact hits and 6 get through, killing the Demonic Engine before the fight could even start. Oh man, if that thing was any sexier. I really need to consider turning Rufus into a Rock as well and just running 2. I really like the -3 initiative thing, and having 2 frenzied units on the table would be a little difficult to control, but oh my god, could you imagine 6d3 strength 7 hits? Ooh, need to consider it. Over here, my impact hits do significant damage to the cannon. I do lose a tribesman for my trouble, but he only is able to do 2 wounds. I have charge, flank, banner, rank, super flank, and I think I did 3 or 4 wounds to this guy. He loses combat by 7 or 8, something ridiculous. I think he needed a 2 not to take any wounds, and he takes enough to destroy him. And the Conquerors are very pleased with themselves. They do overrun in order to get closer to the Crushers, but even if I had rolled boxcars, they wouldn't have hit them. It's just a future charge. Again, I'm well aware that this was an illegal charge. I realized it as I was doing the slideshows for this battle report. I'm not a perfect gamer. I'm not a perfect Lord Tremendous, but damn it, this wasn't intentional. I apologize. I will flog myself later. In combat here, it goes exactly how you think it would go, with the exception of the Scratapult actually doing 1 wound. He did, and 1 impact hit. 1. This piece of garbage did 1 impact hit. That's the 3rd one I've rolled for this piece of garbage. And the only saving grace was that 1 impact hit wounded, and the wound actually got through. And then the Scourge of Wrath ripped it to pieces, which was good. That's exactly what I wanted to have happen, with the exception of the unexpected wound from impact hits. So, woohoo! Over here, once again, my opponent's dice have completely abandoned him. He's not able to do anything but 1 wound to my Tusker Cav. I am making some armor checks. Don't let me fool you, but we counterattack, kill off the rest of the Crushers, and Lord Tremendous and his BSB, Azazel, or Azel, whatever, just end up slapboxing at each other. However, I do win this combat by a significant amount, and he fails his crumble check and dies. I reform like this, and there is much rejoicing. Here we are at the bottom of 3 after movement. There is not much. Obvious reasons. His Scourge of Wrath charges the Scraplings. Once again, they try to stand and shoot, but they panic this time. Totally understandable. They flee 8 inches? Not even. Maybe 7, 6, 7 inches. And the Scourge of Wrath actually rolls really low and fails another charge against the Scraplings, leaving him right there. Which is huge, because basically, instead of being way out of the way and out of range for everything, I get to close in on him now. Wow, I'm very pleased about that. And there's a better picture of Scraplings understandably running from the Scourge of Wrath and it failing the charge because of it. Maybe it didn't want to land in all the pee and poop they left behind them. So we go over here to top of 4 after movement, and I smell blood in the water. Everybody starts surrounding the Scourge of Wrath. Lord Tremendous and the Tusker Cav, who cannot charge his turn, not that they were in range, move up to try to get a hold of him. I don't want to move up too close because he can fly away and get away from me. So I move them up a little bit. I move the Trappers 8 inches towards him. They're not going to be able to shoot this turn. They try. The Conquerors, what's his face? Khan has Troll Eater. He's stupid and he succumbs to it. He goes forward like 3 inches, and what can you do? Elf Eater positions himself to charge the Scourge of Wrath next turn. Bow Wowser gets the hell away from the Scourge of Wrath because he doesn't want to die. And the Scraplings rally on their own leadership and turn to face him. The Scourge of Wrath going, ha ha! That's it for movement. There's a better picture of the bravest Scraplings in the history of the 9th Age, rallying after succumbing to 2 charges from a Scourge of Wrath. These guys are made out of straight kryptonite, and I'm proud of them. And there's a better picture of the Conquerors being stupid because Khan saw a penny. You know what? I guess it could have been a lot worse. It could have happened during a, critical charge or something like that. Instead, it happened when it's more or less me just surrounding the Greater Demon. I can deal with that, but I knew it was going to happen. I know it's going to happen again. It's just I'm a brat, and I would rather never fail a stupidity check. So here we are in bottom of 4, and once again, the Scourge of Wrath charges the Scraplings. The Scraplings try to stand and shoot. They fail their leadership, and this time they roll like a 10 for their flee. And as you can see, they flee off the table. Scourge of Wrath, once again, fails the charge because he wasn't going to be able to get that far, and ends up right there, which is beautiful charge range for many, many things with impact hits. He's only got 2 wounds left. I've got a chance, and you're crazy to think that I'm not going to take it. You know what, the Scraplings, there's been a picture of them saying, you know what, we've done our job this game. We've baited the Scourge of Wrath for 3 turns. We're not doing it anymore, and we're going home. And rightfully so. I'm glad they survived this game, even though they ran off the field. Just an amazing accidental use of my Scraplings. This was not my plan at all, but I'm glad it happened. So here we go, top of 5, and it all comes down to this. Elf Eater, Shyhammer, and the remaining Tusker Cav slam into the Scourge of Wrath. I did not send in Lord Tremendous because I didn't want to have to accept a challenge and lose all those impact hits. I couldn't send in the Conquerors. The Trappers move up. Bow Wowzer moves around the impassable terrain, and that's it for movement. I'm either going to kill the Scourge with impact hits, or I'm going to lose one of these units, and he's going to run down the other one when I break from combat res. There is no third option. There's a better picture of all or nothing. Elf Eater, Shyhammer, and the Tusker Cav slamming into the Scourge of Wrath. I just need 2 wounds to slip through. We go into combat, and it happens. The Tusker Cav impact hits don't do any wounds, but Elf Eater and Shyhammer, oh baby, they murder the Scourge of Wrath, doing 4 wounds with impact hits. Did a total of 7 impact hits, 4 wounds got through, and he dies. Elf Eater and Shyhammer, the MVP of this game. Bar none. Look how happy they are about it, too. They took out Hellhounds, they took out a Demonic Engine, and then they finished off a Scourge of Wrath.
You in my house, motherfucker!
I couldn't be prouder of these guys if they were real, you know? Just very pleased with this unit. Definitely just way outperformed anything else in the army, and they've secured a place in my heart. And then just one more angle, because I love the paint job, I love what they've done, and it's a cool picture. The Conquerors in the background wiping drool off their face, the Tusker Cav trying to figure out what's going on, the mostly dead Scourge of Wrath that has been just destroying my army for weeks now. Oh, it's a solid victory. And there it is. There's the end of the game. It's it. It's over. The remaining ogres are going to lick their wounds and start procreating to make more army. And I've bragged on my army enough. So we'll get to the recap because this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
So this was a victory for Lord Tremendous. I was able to table my opponent by the top of 5. I ended up losing Blackshade, Skaz, the good old boys, the Randos, the Scratapult, Rufus, and that was it. Yeah, that was it. Don't expect to see the Scratapult in the next game. I'm upset with that one. And I had another really good suggestion from one of you guys. I don't know if I should use his name or not. So feel free to take all the credit you guys want for the Obsidian Blade and the suggestion for using Bombardiers instead of Scratapult or the cannon. Again, I don't like to use people's names without their permission, and I haven't asked. So if you want to take credit for it in the comment section, you're more than welcome to. I will verify. While things in this game went really well for me, not everything went the way I thought it would, which, when does it ever? I really didn't think Skaz was going to get killed so fast. I didn't think that the cannon was going to hit him. If it did hit him, I didn't think it would get past his 2-up ward. And if it did get past his 2-up ward, I didn't think he was going to roll a 5 or a 6 to kill him. I was wrong 3 times in a row. I don't know what I was thinking. Skaz tends to die on me, so my bad. The Scratapult was incredibly underwhelming and will take up its permanent residence on the Shelf of Shame. The Tusker Cavalry, however, with Lord Tremendous, really worked well. It had a lot to do with my opponent's dice rolling like total crap, but I'll take victories where I can get him. And the fact that Lord Tremendous had the Obsidian Blade on him for this game is what saved his life and was able to get as many wounds through on his BSB as he did, which was huge. It ended up helping destroy the Crushers and winning me the game. So, wonderful item to have on him, and that's probably going to be his kit for a little while. The good old boys overrunning 11 inches was suicide. I knew it, you knew it, my opponent knew it. The only people that didn't know it was the good old boys, and they learned. What can you do? I needed them closer. I didn't need them that much closer. I got to work on my communication skills with that unit. Thaumaturgy might just be what I need in this army. Doing 3 wounds to the Scourge of Wrath was huge, and I think with better placement and more Wrath tokens on the table, I'm going to have a lot better games in my favor. The new character kits are working out quite nicely. Yeah, Skaz's didn't quite work out, but that was a 1 in 6 chance. there was a lot of weird math hammering that just didn't work out in my favor with that one. But I'm working on it. I definitely need more testing before I submit a list for Adepticon. But as of this, it's March 8th. I think lists are due in 3 days. So Sunday, I'm going to submit a list, and I have 3 more battle reports to show you on my research into them. Come and see them. We'll have fun. But this was a super cool game against a super cool opponent. I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm sorry I haven't been doing the live, well, not live, but the recorded interviews after the game. I just completely forgot. I enjoyed doing them. My opponent enjoyed doing them. I'm going to get back to doing them. I don't know, just head up my butt, I guess, and I apologize for that. Definitely looking forward to the rematch, and Sex Panther has promised a changed up list next time we face off against each other. So I'm looking forward to facing that as well. Should be an excellent game, as they all are. I want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone that supports me financially through Patreon, PayPal, and other means. I have many supporters, and I'm grateful for all of them, but many of them want to remain anonymous, so I'm going to honor that. However, these are the individuals that allow me to thank them properly on my channel, and I'm going to take that opportunity and do so now. Alex of the Vale Renegades, South Florida's Gamermancy team, Daniel Jolson, and Caillou Choi. Thank you guys very, very much. I appreciate it, and I hope I continue to be worthy of your patronage, especially after games like this. This is a great one. I feel good. Seriously though, guys, thank you, every single one of you. That's going to do it for this one, though, guys and gals. Battle Report number 61 is officially in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.